This is the handout for section 4.6. This section is called Linear Regression. And what they're trying to do is make a line that best fits the situation. We're going to be using the calculator for this section, so that's why we have the pictures of the calculator. I'm going to fold it where 1.4 is at the front, just to make it easier for me. So it says 1 out of 4, and that's the first page. And what we're looking at is how to calculate and graph the linear regression using the TI-84. This silver edition makes it just a little bit easier, but I'm going to be using mine that's a little older and the functions are not exactly the same. The following example will demonstrate how to calculate the linear regression. What you will need first is to enter the data. So every time they have these little brackets, what they're trying to do is have you put it in the calculator. So the first thing that we're going to do is press this stat. And I'm going to make a box around every time you need to press a button on your calculator. So where's the stat button? The stat button's right here. But before we continue, I'm going to clear the memory in your calculator. This is kind of important because when you take your state exam, the memory will be cleared. So we got to start from scratch to know how to do everything. So if you'll hit second first, and then you're going to go to the plus sign that says memory. You're going to come to this list, and we're going to go down to number 7. Hit enter, and I want all RAM. So it's already on number 1. I'm going to hit enter again. Yes, I do want to reset it. And that's what I'm going to do before you take your test. 1, it clears up that memory, and then 2, this is how it's supposed to be done. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and go to stat, like the notes indicated. And it's already in the edit menu. It's already in number 1. So you're just going to hit enter. So it says right there, we're going to make a box around it because you had to hit the enter button. Now you're going to put in the data. I don't want us to use this example. I want us to go ahead and do the example for number 1. It says use the table. The table shows the number of goals a soccer team scored each season since 2005. The instructions for this homework is write the equation of the regression line in the data of the table. Find the correlation coefficient. Okay. So now we're going to put in these values. Like I mentioned, the first ones usually are X value and usually are Y. And that's usually how the state exam works, unless you're specifically told or you need to actually pay attention. But in general, that's how it works. 2005, and then you hit enter. 2006, and then enter. So on until you get all your lists done. If you made a mistake, you can go up and hit delete, and it'll take that off. On the Y2, we're going to go ahead and do the goal score. So 42, enter. 38, enter. 46, enter. And so on until you get all your lists in there. They should match up. If you can tell that these two are lined up, you did good. If one's longer than the other, you made a mistake somewhere and the calculator won't read the information. Okay, so we got our data in. So every time you do a number, you have to hit enter. To move to the other list, you're going to have to hit this button like this. The arrow key to the right, which was this one right here. To calculate the line of regression, and it says ax plus by, you hit stat again. So you're in this menu right here. You're going to hit stat again. So I'm going to box it in for you so you can remember that you have to press that button. We got to flip this paper over. Then you're going to move the arrow key because that's where you're at, but you need to move it over to the menu calculate. So you just move over. Once you move over, you're going to go down. To number 4. Or you could actually press the number 4. I like going down to number 4. And what this stands for is linear regression. I always tell the students it's a regular line. It usually helps the students remember what they're trying to do, and you're writing the equation of the line. So either you go to the menu 4, or you move down. Time to go? Oh. Okay. You hit enter, and then enter again. And you can see that we have the A and the B. But in the instructions, we also need the correlation coefficient. So we got to set that correlation coefficient. How we set the correlation coefficient is that you have to go to catalog, which you hit the blue button first. And then you're going to go down all the way to D. And you want to turn the diagnostics on. You hit enter, enter. You can go back to the linear regression menu. And then there's your correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient. Okay, so we had to hit second and then catalog. Then we go all the way to the D. Make sure that it's on. So your answer to this question is y is equal to 1.3 x plus, or it's a minus because it's a negative value, 259.90. That's the equation. Your correlation coefficient is this R value. So R is equal to 0.71. Because your correlation coefficient is so close to 1, that means that all of these points are pretty close together.